The WNBA just had its darkest day. A star player threatened, a coach fired, and it's all happening during the playoffs. Want to know how it all went down and what it means for the league? Let's break it down. Picture this. It's the first quarter of a playoff game. The crowd's going wild, players are hyped, and then bam, something goes down that nobody saw coming. And at the center of it all, Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who's been lighting up the league. But here's the kicker. Clark's drama isn't even the craziest part. There's another bombshell that's got the whole WNBA shook. You know it's bad when what happens off the court is more intense than the game itself.
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever had over 1.8 million viewers. This is now on an NFL Sunday. They had over 1.8 million viewers, and the rest of the games had around 400,000 viewers. These people are coming in waves to watch one player who has sold out every single arena that she has played in this season. Well, I have not seen the viewership reports for the games last night yet, but I'm sure that it is probably double of what the Indiana Fever game got on Sunday.
So what could possibly go so wrong in a playoff game that it overshadows everything else? Stick around, because we're about to dive into the WNBA's perfect storm. Ever wonder how far a fan would go to rattle a star player? In Connecticut, one crossed a line that left the WNBA world stunned. It wasn't just what he said, it's what happened next that's got everyone talking. Picture this. Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation, is on fire during a playoff game. The crowd's roaring, the energy's electric. But then, out of nowhere, something goes terribly wrong. Clark suddenly stops, turns to security, and points out a fan in the stands. What could have possibly happened to make her do that? Well, hold on to your seats because this is where things get ugly. This fan didn't just yell the usual trash talk. No, he took it to a whole new level of nasty. He allegedly said he wished Clark would fall and break her neck. Yeah, you heard that right. It's the kind of thing that makes you wonder what's wrong with people. But here's where it gets even crazier. After security confronted this guy, guess what? They let him go back to his seat. Can you believe it? And get this, he starts bragging about what he said to other fans nearby. It's like he was proud of being the worst person in the arena that night. This whole mess has got people asking some serious questions about security in the WNBA. I mean, how does a fan get away with saying something like that and just waltz back to his seat like nothing happened? It's not just about Clark either. Players like Brittany Griner and Angel Reese have dealt with their fair share of fan nastiness too. It's becoming a real problem in the league. Rachel Dementa, who knows a thing or two about the WNBA, pointed out something interesting. She said there's a lot of jealousy and negativity around Caitlin Clark's popularity. It's like some fans can't handle seeing a player blow up and become a star. Clark's success is amazing for the league, but it's also bringing out the worst in some people. This incident is making everyone take a hard look at how fans interact with players in the WNBA. People are calling for stricter rules and better security to keep players safe during games. It's crazy to think that in 2023, we're still dealing with fans who think it's okay to threaten players like this. Just as the league was grappling with fan behavior,
200,000 more people came to watch the Indiana Fever than any other team in the league. The second best was 400,000. The Fever attendance is 200,000 more people this season than any other organization. The Liberty is next at 400,000. These are numbers when people talked about at the beginning of the season, the high tide lifts all boats or whatever, basically. Like, if you buy into this, everybody is going to eat.
The Chicago Sky decided to shake things up in a major way. Imagine being a coach, thinking you're building something special, then bam, you're out of a job. That's exactly what happened to Teresa Weatherspoon, and the reason why might surprise you. Teresa Weatherspoon, the head coach of the Chicago Sky, got fired out of nowhere. This wasn't just any old coaching change, it was a shock to the entire WNBA. Weatherspoon had only been with the team since October 2023, replacing James Wade. You'd think a coach would get more than a few months to prove themselves, right? Here's the kicker. The Sky weren't even doing that bad. They had a 3-4 record when Weatherspoon got the boot. That's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. So what gives? The team hasn't said much about why they made this decision, but it's got everyone talking. The players? They're not happy about this at all. Angel Reese, one of the Sky's stars, took to social media to express her feelings. She wrote, "I came to Chicago because of you. You were the best reason, and season you didn't deserve this." Ouch. That's gotta hurt for the Sky's management to hear. This isn't just about one coach losing her job. It's about the whole vibe of the league. Weatherspoon was seen as a supportive figure, someone who had the players' backs during tough times. Now she's gone, and it's left a lot of people wondering what's really going on behind the scenes. Think about it. How does this affect the team's morale? You've got players who came to Chicago specifically because of Weatherspoon. Now they're probably feeling pretty blindsided. And what about the other coaches in the league? This kind of sudden firing could make them all feel like they're walking on eggshells. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The Sky have been having some other issues too. Both the team and some players got fined recently for not following media rules. Is this all connected? Are there bigger problems we're not seeing? Looking ahead, the Sky's got some serious questions to answer. Who's going to take over as head coach? How will this affect their performance on the court? And most importantly, how are they going to win back the trust of their players? The Sky's drama is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. From courtside threats to coaching controversies, the WNBA's facing a moment of truth. How the league responds could redefine women's basketball as we know it. You might think these incidents are isolated, but they're not. The WNBA is at a crossroads, and the changes coming are going to shake things up big time. The league's got some serious decisions to make, and it's not just about one team or one player anymore. Let's talk about that fan who went after Caitlin Clark. That wasn't just some random jerk mouthing off. It's a symptom of a bigger problem the WNBA's been dealing with. Fans are getting bolder, and not in a good way. The league knows it needs to step up its game when it comes to player safety. So what's the WNBA doing about it? Word is, they're looking at beefing up security at games. They're talking about new policies to keep players safe and make sure fans know where the line is. It's not just about protecting the stars like Clark, it's about creating an environment where all players can focus on their game without worrying about some knucklehead in the stands. And get this, the league's not just cracking down on fans. They're taking a harder look at what's happening on the court too. Remember that foul Chennedy Carter put on Clark? The WNBA went back and upgraded it to a flagrant 1. That's a big deal. It shows they're serious about player safety, even when it comes to contact between players. But here's where it gets tricky. The WNBA is getting more popular than ever. That's awesome, but it comes with its own set of problems. More fans mean more passion, but also more potential for things to get out of hand. The league's got to figure out how to keep that excitement without letting it turn ugly. It's not just about what happens during games either. The whole Weatherspoon situation with the Sky, that's got people asking questions about how teams are run. Players are speaking up, and they're not happy. The league needs to think about how these kinds of decisions affect team morale and the WNBA's image. So what's the upside to all this drama? Well, it could force the WNBA to level up in a big way. We might see better security, clearer rules for fan behavior, and maybe even more stability for coaches. It's like growing pains. Uncomfortable now, but it could lead to a stronger, more professional league. Alright, let's break down what's happening in the WNBA right now. We've got Caitlin Clark dealing with a crazy fan and Teresa Weatherspoon getting fired out of nowhere. It's like the league's hit a turning point, and everyone's watching to see what happens next. The WNBA's got some big decisions to make. How are they going to keep players safe from out-of-control fans? And what about coaches? Is anyone's job safe anymore? These aren't just little problems. They could change the whole face of women's basketball. Here's something to think about. As fans, we're part of this too. The way we act at games, the stuff we say online, it all matters. So here's my question for you. What can we do to make the WNBA better? Because let's face it, the future of women's basketball isn't just about what happens on the court. It's about all of us.